Welcome to the 2014 Hudson Area Veterans Day ceremony. It's going to be a little bit different, obviously, than it has been in past years. Usually we came in here afterwards and had the cookies and milk and coffee. Today we're going to do it inside so that nobody gets frostbite. And if something seems a little out of sorts, we are sort of designing this on the fly. I want to start with the presentation of colors. The colors being already in place, would you stand, uncover, and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next selection will be the Star Spangled Banner by the Hudson High School Band. Normally, since we're standing outside and we have a full firing squad, I wouldn't introduce the whole color guard, but I will today. On the left with the American flag, Jay Livermore. POWMI flag, Lyle Friedland. Wisconsin flag, Dale Schmidt. American Legion Post 50 flag, Clarence Buck Malik. And Hudson VFW Memorial Post 2115 flag, Carol Stry. The two post commanders, Jim Fossey, and of the VFW, and the Legion Post Commander Gordon Knutson. We'll now have the invocation by VFW Post Chaplain David Kavarnas.
Today is Veterans Day. The veterans, men and women that have served in the military service. World War II veterans, and I look and I can't see one in the crowd today. All of them would be in their 90s. The Korean conflict veterans are all in their 80s, I would assume. And I think how many VF combat veterans from Korean veterans are here today? Just stick your hand up and let's see who's here. Thank you much. The Vietnam veterans are in their 60s and 70s. And how many non-veterans are here today? Okay, very good. Thank you. Those are all of the veterans that are old folks. All of them are entitled to senior citizens now. All of them, out of that group, I would think 50% of them at least have been drafted. The draft has dropped to 1973. And the veterans that served after 1973 were made up of volunteers reservists, National Guards. And those people served in the continental United States, in the Mideast, and the Far East, in Europe, and even in space. They have veterans up in the space capsule. So all of those veterans that were served in those places, if you'll put your hand up and we'll see how many of you are here. Hey, there's a couple of them over there, okay. So evidently we don't have a lot of veterans here tonight anyway, but you have to think of the veterans, these younger veterans, those are the ones that need to have the thank you, thank you, thank you. Because all of the veterans are the ones that are entitled that brought this to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. And all God's children said, amen. Amen.
I'd now like to introduce our guest speaker. He is the soon-to-be retired St. Croix County Veteran Service Officer, Merlin Blaisdell. Merlin enlisted in the U.S. Army in April of 1968 after being notified he would be drafted in June of 1968. There was a lot of that going on in those days. I speak from experience. He became a food inspector and airborne soldier in November of 1968 and continued his military service until July 31, 1989. Merlin retired from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri with over 21 years of continuous active duty. After retiring from the Army, Merlin was employed as manager at Nelson's Super Value Store in Baldwin for 14 years, from 1989 to 2003. In June of 2003, Merlin was selected to be the Pierce County Veteran Service Officer, and after 4.5 years there, he applied and was selected to become the St. Croix County Veteran Service Officer. It has been Merlin's distinct pleasure to serve the veterans of this county for the past 7 years, and now Merlin looks forward to spending more time with his family and friends, traveling a bit and doing what he wants. I won't get into that. Merlin Blaisdell.
You want the other side?
No, this is
Well, as John said, it has been a pleasure to serve as the St. Croix County Service Officer here for 7 years. I remember back in December of 2007, it was kind of a cool day that day as well. But I think this is the coldest Veterans Day that we've had in the past 7 years, so it's nice to see everybody here. It's good to see this room full of things, of people, and with ideas on your mind other than, you know, taxes and all the other things that our county board has to deal with. So thanks for being here today in support of the veterans. George Orwell once said, and I quote, "People sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf." Today, let us thank God for those tough men and women who have been the sentinels of liberty for nearly 240 years. They are America's veterans. Those of us here know the meaning of the word veteran, but some young people may not. They have been bombarded by the mass media who calls anyone who has been in an occupation for a number of years a veteran. We have veteran lawmakers. We have veteran sports enthusiasts. We have even veterans in the music industry. Webster's dictionary defines those individuals as the second definition of the word veteran. But the primary use of the word, according to Webster, is an old soldier of long service and former member of the armed forces. While I don't like to think of the old soldier part, I am very proud to be a former member of the armed forces. I submit to you that anyone who is wearing the uniform of the U.S. military today is a veteran. Because being a veteran is not only about having done one's duty, but it's also characterized by a sense of patriotism, a sense of service to others, even when it's not appreciated. And above all else, it's about a bond that can be truly understood only by those who have experienced life in a military family. Since colonial times, American citizen soldiers have earned the honor of being called veterans. It does not matter when or where we served, what duty we performed, or the branch of service that we served. Certainly, service in uniform has never been restricted by gender. Women have served this land from its founding and served heroically. Today's military men and women are motivated by the same ideals we shared when we were in uniform. Look deeply into the eyes of the younger veterans who fought in Iraq, Afghanistan, the Persian Gulf, Kosovo, and those who now confront a faceless enemy in the war on terrorism. You still find that desire to defend that which we hold dear, our freedom. Their faces reflect the makeup of our melting pot society. In America, we set aside one day a year to honor those few who endured so much that so many, here and abroad, might be free. We are especially proud of the young people who follow in our footsteps today, who stand on freedom's frontiers so that we and those we love dearly can continue to enjoy life in America. Today, when we leave here, let us do so with a renewed sense of pride in what we as veterans have given to America. Let us always continue our efforts to instill a deep sense of patriotism and love of country in others, for this is essential in sustaining our freedom. Let us do whatever we can to support our servicemen and women, our comrades in arms and their families, as they go in harm's way on our behalf. Let us also take the time to remind our own family members, friends, and neighbors that while many are called veteran, this and that, there is only one true veteran, someone who has worn or is wearing the military uniform of this great country. On this special day, we thank them all, past and present, for their service, for their sacrifice, and for their love of country. Nothing we can say or do can repay the debt that is owed to them. But at least we can offer our gratitude and our promise that we shall never forget. In closing, I would like to read a poem that was written by John Miller from Brule, Wisconsin. It's called "A Soldier's Sacrifice." When our freedom is threatened by a terrible foe, or safety in jeopardy, and there is no rest, we call upon the soldier, America's best. He comes forward with courage to take a stand, ready and willing to defend this great land. As he departs, telling loved ones goodbye, tears are present in his eyes. Shipped out to parts of the world unknown, his thoughts reflect a family and friends back home. For that is the place he would rather be, but this is a sacrifice the soldier makes for all to be free. Under midnight skies he is placed in a fight, so terrible are the thoughts, will I make it through the night? Believing in God, he begins to pray, Lord, will I see the light of another day? Suddenly, he hears his name being called out by his friend and rushes over to see if his wounds he can tend. While he holds his hand and kneels by his side, he watches as the glimmer of life fades from his friend's eyes. Under midnight skies, a soldier dies. As he returns home from being overseas, his family is there to greet him with overwhelming glee. Happy to be home, he tells them there is no other place he'd rather be. One thing he must do before his tour comes to an end. He must visit the family of his fallen friend. He tells them he fought by his side and was there when he last closed his eyes. He offers apologies for not being there when they laid him to rest, and tells them their son was one of America's best. In battle, he stood his ground and did not stray, and considered it an honor to sacrifice his life for family, friends, and the USA. With the family, a soldier cries. Let us never forget the sacrifice soldiers make for you and me. With their lives, they pay it forward for all to be free. When they return home from a foreign land, go to the soldiers, say thank you, and shake their hand. It just might be to your surprise to see tears of appreciation well up in their eyes. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and may God bless you.
I would also like to thank the people that helped plan and make this possible today. First of all, Jerry Campbell from the County Veteran Service Office. Beth Anneman, also from the County Veteran Service Office. Gordy Knudsen, and I did a little bit in planning this myself. I did not plan on it being cold and snowy and we'd end up in the boardroom. I want to thank Merlin for being our guest speaker today. And now the Hudson High School Band will have us play a selection. In addition to the high school band, we have the 5th grade from Prairie Elementary School here today. They were treated to a tour of the facility courtesy of Child Support Administrator Katie Capon, and also had got to meet a service dog and the Hudson Police Canine dog. And they will now do a vocal selection for us.
Land of hope and liberty.
Thank you. Next, Chaplain Kavarnis will give us the benediction.
God be with you till we meet again. By his counsel's guide, uphold you. Like a sheep, securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Amen.
Normally at this stage, when we're outside, we'd have taps and the three volley salute to the dead. Obviously, that's not an option in here today, exactly in that format. However, we will have taps by the Hudson High School trumpeters, and we will sort of follow that format with the exception of the three volleys. And that during the playing of taps, salute or remove your headgear and do one of these if you're not a veteran. Thank you for coming today. Hope the rest of your Veterans Day activities are warm and dry as best you can do that. All the members of the Hudson Legion and VFW Color Guard who are here meet with Gordy and myself at the close of the program. And in case nobody knew that, we have coffee, milk, and cookies over here. That part is just like always. Thank you for being here today.